Okay, 8-6 offsuit, we can fold. Still super deep on this one. Just started up. How long has it been running for? It used to tell you how long it's been running for here, but it doesn't anymore, I guess. It has been running for 17 minutes. Yeah, back when I had that straight draw. Where is it? Oh, they moved me table, so I can't look at it anymore. Yeah, I was just going to say, when I made that straight on the flop and the club came on the turn, do you guys think that I should shove there to look polarized? Or do you think that maybe there would be more value in putting out like 2/3 pot? Because I was starting to think about it, and I'm thinking maybe 2/3 would have been better to get called by an ace, because that club probably scared him a little bit. And he didn't want to call off for his tournament life with like a pair of aces with a marginal kicker. So now I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have bet a little bit smaller instead of trying to get called by a club draw. So anyway, yeah, I think I could have played that hand a little bit differently. Now, in hindsight, I don't know where it is. Where was it? Where was it? Ace 10 5. Oh, here it is. I'll review that one later. That's what you got to do. Got to keep reviewing your sessions and trying to learn from your mistakes and evolving as a poker player. That's how good players get better. So. All right, 7-3 off. We can fold. So yeah, we're all in this together. I'm learning. You guys are learning. Everybody's learning here. So I guess watching these videos might help you kind of get inside of the head of somebody playing these levels in some ways. Here's an interesting spot with pocket queens. In the big blind, we have a minimum raise from a 50-33, and then we have a 17-0 just cold calling. I don't want to scare them away. I would say like something like this is probably going to be a good raise size. Like we could jam, but our hand is so strong that like, see, we hit a flop like this. And now, like I could jam. I'm going to put out like a smallish bet and try to make it look like I'm really weak and then call off. Yeah, I didn't think checking was the right play because it was going to look pretty fishy when I 3-bet into two guys pre-flop. And then when the flop comes with an ace and a queen, he has to know I have some kind of marginal holding. So I wanted to give him a little bit of room to hang himself and think that maybe he has some fold equity here when I put out that small bet. So, because shoving is going to get him to fold all of his crap. Checking is going to look really fishy because obviously I have something on this flop. So I thought betting small would kind of like make my hand look worse than it really was and show him that he has some fold equity in his head sometimes. So that was my thought process there, and it worked out for us, so that's good. And 4-7 offsuit, we're extremely deep stacked, and the 4-7s is awful. We're deep stacked on this one as well, and we have 7-9s suited with a limper under the gun. Yeah, this would be a nice hand to play, but I think we're just kind of in too bad of a position. If I was in the hijack, I definitely would have called, but mid position is just, it's tough because there's so many players that we have to get through, and we're in such an early stage of the game that we're just gonna have a lot of people raising like insane amounts, and I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit snug. Some people probably would have just limped in. Some people would raise, but I just fold in mid position. Plus, we do have a fairly healthy chip stack still, so we got lots of room. We can pick better spots. Granted, yes, in tournaments with like 3,000 opponents to start, you do have to play. You do have to gamble to get any money, like to get to the top 3 spots. But try to just do it as intelligently as possible, I suppose. Nobody's showing any form of aggression here at all. 7-9 didn't bet that flop. Wow. That's pretty crazy. To have an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw and to not bet the flop with that amount of equity, that's just crazy. I don't even know if I want to take a note on that. Well, yeah, I'll just say... All right. 2.5x. This guy's cold called with 67, 56 stats over 9 hands. Top set. All right, I'm just going to check this one back because it's very hard for my opponent to have something. I'm blocking top pair. And we kind of want him to make an ace. Okay, now I'm going to start betting. I'm going to bet on the larger side and hope that he made an ace, pair of aces. And he did, I think. So we want to bet large. We want to build a pot. I think he's calling with an ace here. But he folds. Yeah, in that spot, when the ace comes on the turn, he's going to be folding probably about 70% of the time. But when he has that ace, we want to bet large because he's going to be calling pretty much any bet size with an ace there, especially when he's just such a crazy weak player. There, so we know that guy doesn't bet his draws, so we're making note of that. And we know that if he's raising or betting, it's linear betting range for sure, so that's good to know. All right, the big blind's sitting out, and we have an excellent hand. Gonna go for 2.5x again. Fold 4-3 off. Calling a shove from this guy, or if this guy wakes up and starts playing and shoves, I'm calling. Okay, so this one is in the low jack, so I think I'm just going to fold queen jack offsuit. We got like super loose guy here. These guys are playing exceptionally tight, and they're shorter stacks, so there is quite a few shove stacks on this table right now. All right, so we have a 3x from this guy, and we have queen 5, and we have a limper here. This is probably just a fold. Granted, when you see a guy with stats like 50-21, that just means that their limping range is extremely like loose or like extremely weak. I mean, so like when he's limping in, he basically turns his hand face up. He has a weak hand because he's raising his good hands and he's calling with his bad hands that he just wants to see a flop with. So it's just terrible strategy. So I tend to pick on players like that. Because I basically know that they have like some weak hand that they want to try to see a flop with, and they're raising all their good hands and just limping with all their bad hands. So, all right, 6-7 suited. We're going to be in the worst position on the table, so I think I'm just going to fold. No shame in folding after you complete the big blind or the small blind. Fold that. Doing quite well, actually. We're in 133rd right now. Almost twice average stacked, so top set doesn't hurt. And a straight. The biggest stack right now is 45,000 chips. That is a lot of chips. I don't seem to ever be the chip leader of the tournament when there's 1,000 people. Probably because it's pretty rare to be that. I get like 5th once in a while, but that's about it. I think to make a stack that large early in a tournament too, you're probably like getting pretty out of line too, and I don't generally get like super out of line. All right, King 3 offsuit is a fold here. We don't need to be getting involved with this deep stack. There's a lot of reverse implied odds. You want to try to stay away from reverse implied odd hands out of position when you're so deep. Seven to offsuit. No. Have to fold that one. All right, so this is an easy fold. I was just thinking, like, would I complete the blind with this hand? Like, you could. Yeah, I think it would be a complete probably, but I wouldn't like it that much. Okay. I don't know about this one. I'd probably just call and we'll see a flop. I don't have any read on this opponent at all, so. Need 4Xs. All right, let's get out of the way. I considered raising there, but I just don't have any read on my opponent yet, so. Okay, we got 2 limpers. So I'm going to make it 250. With my jacks here. And lots of callers. All right, check, check, check. Middle pair. I'll just check it back, see what develops here. King 4 off is a fold. That's a pretty safe turn card. I'll probably bet. Okay, well, we got a very bad flop for jacks in a multi-way pot. Well, I call, but I don't know. I think I have to call for like for what, like 10 big blinds or 10 to 1. I mean, like I pretty much have to call, and then they're putting out 100. Like I don't even have a flush option. I'm basically chasing a jack right now, but for like I'm getting 20 to 1, so I kind of have the right odds to call, I guess. Yeah, I don't understand. What is he min betting with? I'm going to be interested to see what he does that with. Oh, no, we're not going to ever know. So I guess these guys can check a king twice. One of them has a king. I'm not entirely sure what these guys have. Maybe one of them has a flush draw. Had a flush draw on the turn. We're only playing a 6 and 0 on this one, so we're playing fairly tight. We're probably just not picking up any type of hands. So 100%. Get rid of that one. All right, guys, I'm going to pause the video and I'll be right back.